What up, what up, what up, world? It's your boy J Star, finally back, man. Week 1. Oh my God. It's really here, man. Like, this is crazy. Like, cannot believe it, man. Been waiting so long, just building up my notes, man, for this week 1, man, and just completely for this whole season, like so much has gone on, with so many different teams. Kind of going to get into it a little bit in this video, but probably more, as we get to Friday for sure. And I do my final look and I tell y'all, going through how I usually do. Come final look, I usually really go through at their injury reports, who's starting and, such and such spots and stuff like that on the field and things like that. Also, this year, learned a lot about, offensive personnel and things like that, what teams kind of run offensively. As well as I went through each defenses this year, man. It's crazy. Like, I know last year I gave y'all a lot of information on, what kind of style of defense people was playing when it comes to like 4-3-3-4 and how to attack that stuff. But now more even got into the fact like teams play zone, teams play man, or kind of do half and half, whatever like that. Because it really helps out figuring out what receivers, offensively, when you do know their personnel offensively and how they're going to attack that defense and what receivers they're going to go to and things like that, man. It's crazy. So just a lot of notes, man, I've been doing this year. So trying to get ready to really win, and help all y'all win as well. So we're going to get into this really quick first look, going through each game real fast, man. So we got Cincinnati and Cleveland here. I mean, definitely, it looks like Burrow is going to be good to go, I think. It's in a good place. I don't really see him missing out, this first game, man. It's a rivalry game. Also, because of the fact too, like Cleveland is in the hunt, man. They're in the hunt to possibly be able to win this division. It's all on Deshaun Watson's, I feel like, arm and legs and things like that. Like, I also do feel like he is a good play. This game could be one of the shootout games. Really, it really could turn into that. Only thing is, I will say is there's a lot of resistance on the Burrow side because of the fact, we got pass rushing trying to get to him. His line was kind of rocky, last season. He had to play a lot of quick game, a lot of quick game. So if he's able to get the ball out real fast, then yeah, possibly it's good. But Cleveland was more of a team where you attack them in the run. It's supposed to be, a mixing type of game. But the thing is, when you go look at Mixon, he had a hard time against them last season. Like, and I know it has nothing really to do with this season, but it's like 12.6. And then you got a what was it? I think it was back to back like 12.9, 12.6. So yeah, like didn't really do good against them. It's more on the fact that I feel that Cincinnati is just such a pass heavy team. Passing rate is crazy. There got to be like, I believe, one of the top 5, definitely top 10 teams in passing rate. So when it comes to that, I think that's what hurts them playing Cleveland, because you should be running the ball against them and they don't really run the ball at all. And if they somehow get down quickly or something like that in this game, they're definitely going to lead the run real quick because they don't want to do it anyway. So, if Mixon pass catches a lot in this game, then possibly, he can do a little something. But he already did that in one of those games where I showed you he only had 12 points. He caught the ball like 6 times. They passed him like 7 times. So they even tried that. It's not that though. Like if you go look at the game where he actually rushed, he did run for almost 100 yards on him. Like, where was it? It was the last one right here. 96 yards right there. He was 4 yards short of three point bonus for us there. So, like it's there if they're going to run. For his points there for sure. But besides that, Cleveland on the other side, like I said, it's all on Deshaun Watson's play, man. Is he gonna be accurate at throwing the ball? Is he gonna have a better connection this year with his receivers? And now adding Elijah Moore to that too, the Joku and things like that. I feel like they play a personnel that they should be running their offense kind of through new Joku, and of course their run game and things like that. And then once these two things I would say get going and things for them, or it's definitely the run. Of course, they always want to run. They play heavy sets, so like for their personnel, and leaves most of the time only like a 2 wide receivers. So I don't really see them running 11 personnel like the way the Bengals do, which the Bengals run 11 because they want to throw all the time. They're not trying to run really at all. And they're trying to get their best receiver the ball in multiple ways and get him the most advantages as possible. He does have heavy resistance though playing Cleveland this week. Denzel Ward and the other cornerback on the other side that I thought could have swore they drafted really high. So I would say is more in the slot area, which they do move Chase there too, and we know Boyd is always there. But yeah, those would probably be the areas they'll need to try to attack, to get their best player the ball and have a better chance. But like I said, the line will have to hold up, for that. For big plays to come from Chase, which is what they're looking for most of the time from Chase, and then it would probably be Higgins afterwards. But yeah, this should be a really good game. Like I said, it could be a sneaky shootout because of the fact I can see Cleveland getting up, in this game and causing Bengals to have to throw their way back into this game and pass their way back into this game. So let's move on. No, we got next game here. Arizona and Washington, man. God, I just want this game to just end as fast as possible. But yeah, this game here, man. No Kyler Murray, Sam Howell. I don't know what to really expect from him, man. I heard the coaches raving about him and everything. Said if he would have known he had him back there last year, as a backup, and he was really good, he would have had started him. He said so. It's good news from there, but from the other side, you got Dobbs now starting. McCoy is waived off the team now, so yeah, you got Dobbs starting. I just feel like this is setting up to me to be like a running back game, and possibly both side, running backs, because I definitely know Arizona is not too good against running backs, but I think it's also like pass catching ones too. So it probably leans more towards Gibson than Robinson. But and then Connor will, if they're gonna use a lot of dumping off to him, we already seen what he could do. That's usually when he has his best game. So possibly a good game for him. The receivers, man, here I don't really know what to expect, man. The quarterbacks, there's no really connection with Dobbs and Marquise Brown, so I don't even know what to say there. Like none of his receivers really, will be connected with him. He just got there, so it's not much to really say about that. And starting, out of nowhere to me is what it feel like. But McLaurin, if he's playing, it's possibly he could have a good game, for him. If not, I feel like Curtis Samuel or something like that, Logan Thomas, I mean, they're playing one of the teams we know was literally the worst team, against tight ends, but I don't know what this questionable, man. He already questionable in starting the year. Like he's burnt me too many times last season too as well. It kind of sucks that Ertz isn't playing because I feel like he was, he's always a good play. 3,400 would have been kind of really cheap too. So, but yeah, besides that, like I said, this just feels heavy running back, possible defense, for Washington side, especially since Arizona has another backup quarterback playing, starting and everything. So yeah, it feels more like that. But let me move on, man, from that one, because fantasy wise, I don't see a lot of points coming from that unless it's gonna be sneaky, because we don't really know much about Sam Howell and who's his favorite target gonna be. And there's definitely Arizona defense is not that good anymore. So we got Tennessee Titans here, man. We got Carr. I like Carr in this game, man. He has just one of the easiest schedules, period, this year. This might not be the most complete easiest team, though, that he is playing, but last season we know they were a team, though, that gave up, deep throws and stuff like that. And as much as I don't like Carr, like I do got to give him credit though for the fact that he is a deep thrower. Like that's what he does well, So he's not really the short game person. He likes to throw the ball deep, and he does really good at that. Like you look at Devontae's yards per route run, is very high, and also his touchdowns per route run were high too. So it's like, yeah, it's because a Carr was hitting him on far, deep throw touchdowns and things like that. So what's great now is like now he has Chris Olave, I feel like, and also Rashid Shaheed too as well, like if he's able to play. But if not, we know Chris Olave is one of their deep threats. So definitely I feel like that should benefit Chris Olave having a quarterback like him and playing a game like the Tennessee Titans. They did get a little bit better. I would say they tried to at least fill the gaps of their cornerbacks and their safeties, which is where they had a lot of problems at. But it's game one, and I don't really expect it to just change in one game that they're just going to be great at that. So, yeah, Chris Olave sounds like a good pick. Running backs here, don't really think the running game, because Tennessee's line is actually good. So I don't really see much going on there. New Orleans line is all right. It's not the best at all. So, yeah, I really see like Carr trying to get the ball out. I see them trying to run a little bit, but I don't know if it's gonna work. It's like on the other side too as well. Like the New Orleans line, it's really tough. They do have older people like in Cam Jordan and stuff like that they rely on. they're getting older and things like that. And I would say it's one more other dude on the other side of the line that both are getting older. They don't have like young bucks on the line anymore. So, but they still are a tough defense. I think though Tennessee will be down in this game though, so I do think they'll be relying heavily on Hopkins, to pass the ball to. Treylon Burks didn't really show much last season. So I see them moving around Hopkins a lot to try to get him the ball. So for fantasy-wise, yeah, he's definitely going to have a heavy volume of targets. I also do like Juwan Johnson. I told y'all I love Taysom Hill every week, though. Like, every week I'm going to always think Taysom Hill is going to be a good play just because of the fact he's basically a running back, quarterback, and tight end all in one. So, yeah, definitely at 3,700, I'm always going to take shots there. But Juwan Johnson, because of the fact his ADOT is very high, he's used for big plays for their team. And this is a team that gave up, big, deep throws and stuff like that type of plays and stuff, big, explosive plays. So I definitely see a receiver turn to tight end now. I definitely see him being a part of the second target player. I kind of feel like he's like 1-2 from Olave. And then, of course, Michael Thomas is a competition for two as well. But since this game, I think, will be heavily relied on to throw deep, to score and things like that and get down the field, I see Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson probably being the biggest factors of that. And like I said, running back, Hopkins, yeah, you can definitely do something like that. Let's move on. We got Houston and Baltimore here. This game is supposed to be an easy game for Baltimore when it comes to the fact that they're a heavy set personnel, because they used to like to run a lot, especially with Lamar. Also having Dobbins, ready to play, it looks like now and everything. So, and we know Houston was bad against the run and stuff like that. But now that they do have D'Amico Ryans or whatever like that, from the 49ers defensive coordinator, head coach now, I don't know if they will have as many problems as with the run and stuff like that. The 49ers was one of the hardest teams to run against. So I definitely feel like they'll probably be a little bit better. Maybe not game one, maybe not game one, just because, like I said, heavy personnel set if they still are running that way. I mean, they have a new OC coach in Baltimore, so they might be running 11 personnel. Who knows right now? We don't know yet because they do have 3 receivers now. They didn't have 3 receivers before. Now they have Bateman, Odell, and Zay Flowers. I think they're going to want them out on the field more than just having like 1 or 2 of them most of the time out on the field, But before, there was heavy personnel because they would like to run with Lamar, give you a little, action, RPO action with Dobbins or something like that, and then also just throwing the ball to Andrews most of the time, So, but if somehow Houston has gotten better at the run stopping, then it turns into a game where Lamar is probably going to be airing it out. And that's why I do like Lamar a lot because of that, because I kind of do feel like Houston might, give them a harder time maybe running the ball. Maybe it might happen. I don't really expect it to work game one, though, for sure. But I also do think Lamar is going to be in this attack mode to show that he can pass the ball. Now that he's gotten paid and everything and he has all these weapons, I don't see him not getting out there trying to throw probably 40 times first game. So, yeah, I definitely see Lamar being a great pick. Just figuring out, which receiver is he going to throw to. Yeah, we don't really know for sure, because his favorite target was Andrew. So you can always just go with the safe bet in that. On the other side here, Stroud, first game going against a Baltimore defense who has gotten weaker in the cornerback section, though. Also, it looks like, Marcus Peters. And because Marcus Peters is the one that's gone, I believe, and then forgot the other one name too. But the other cornerback, I forget his name right now. I don't know why, but he's hurt. It looks like, so he might not even be here for the first game. So it looks like the cornerback section, man. The only thing that's bad about this is like they gave Stroud a whole bunch of old bucks for the receivers. It feels like Woods, Nico Collins was a big play receiver. He's 6'4" or something too. So, they sent him down the field a lot. But Mechie I thought he was starting, and it looks like he might not be starting. They might be going with Noah Brown, and possibly Tank Dell or whatever. So, yeah, it's just I don't know what to expect. Like, who is the slot receiver here? And I feel like that really matters, man, because I feel like that's probably how they're going to have to attack, Baltimore. But yeah, we don't even know which receiver they're going with. The best play to me is just rolling with Schultz, man. I just feel like he just has that, summed up his position. We know exactly what he's going to do. He's probably going to be in there 80 to 90% of the time, and definitely a safety net play. Of course, Pierce maybe coming out the backfield more catching, possibly. But yeah, I definitely see like this being an air attack for Lamar, man. I do know he's going to run. and probably steal some of the running from Dobbins in this game. Maybe when they get up big or something like that, then Dobbins finishes it out. But that's it from that game. Let's move on to the next game here. We got San Francisco and Pittsburgh. I do expect good play from Brock Purdy, man. Like, I think Pittsburgh let go of Cam Sutton for sure. I know that much. And don't really know what to expect really from their backfield like that anymore. So Purdy probably does have, since Pittsburgh kind of runs a little man too, it leans more towards Ayuk having a good game, because that's who they kind of go to when they play, when they're going against man. So I think Ayuk for 4,900 could hit, he could hit nice 20-something points, especially with Brock Purdy throwing the ball, because, when we had Garoppolo here, it was like, all he was doing was throwing straight to the middle. And I feel like, yeah, it works probably at the beginning of the game, but then defenses adjust, quickly understand that you're just trying to throw everything to the middle, and kind of stack up in that area and force you to have to, do something else basically. And that's what Garoppolo couldn't do. So I think with Purdy though, he's going to throw on the outside, which I think opens up a Utes game. 4,900 might be the cheapest, he might be all season really. And he probably hits for that really. On the other side, period, McCaffrey probably have a hard time, but the catching part of him always keeps him going. And also, if you just think the 49ers get to the goal line at least 2 to 3 times in this game at all, if you feel that way, McCaffrey probably gets one of those, rushing touchdowns or catch touchdowns and things. So he still probably hits tough 20, something like that for him. I don't really see a 30-point game for him, but maybe, it's always there for him just because how explosive he is. Besides that, we're looking at from the other side here, Pickens and Deontay Johnson. I kind of lean more towards Freiermuth in this game, being a big deal. You're supposed to try to run on San Francisco. The middle of the line is the most easy, I would say, area where you're trying to run at. I don't really know if Pittsburgh's going to be able to run. Najee Harris didn't have too many great games, man, rushing the ball at all. So I just feel like if they got to pass in this game, it's going to be Freiermuth. I feel like it's probably the best play here to me. Let me keep it moving here, man. And it's basically too also because they play a lot of zone for San Francisco, and they don't have receivers built for the zone when it comes to Pittsburgh, like really. So other than I would say like Freiermuth. So next game here we got Jacksonville and the Colts, man. This is probably the next. Let's see. We went through. Yeah, this is since Cincinnati and Cleveland from the early morning. This is probably the next one that I feel is the best shootout potential game. And I know they have a rookie quarterback, but they have a rookie quarterback that wants to just like really sling it and also run a little bit. So it is really hard to stop a Russian quarterback. So besides that, he wants to sling the ball. He's gonna keep trying to throw deep down the field and stuff like that. And I feel like all that does is continue to put pressure on you. Of course, we got a value savings running back so far, as long as they don't sign anybody, but Deion Jackson here too. But yeah, it's just they're going to be in a game where they're going to be possibly down, and they're going to have to throw the ball, like period. Like down pretty big to me, because you got freaking 3 receivers here, man. They play like 11 personnel, so they're trying to air the ball out. They drop backs, one of the like highest drop back teams too, in Jacksonville, and these are both I would say like mid, right past top 10, I would say, in pace teams, man. So they play pretty fast too. I mean, it's going to be crazy opportunities, I feel like, in this game for fantasy points, and the fact, like I said, neither team wants to run the ball. Definitely because of now that Jonathan Taylor's out too, they don't want to run the ball really. So the only thing is, I will say one side is like heavily stacked and amazing all across the board. Like from tight end to receivers and everything. And they're definitely going to keep airing it out if you're going to keep giving them opportunities to be on the field offensively. So this side is crazy, but it's great to see that, Colts actually have at least a quarterback that can throw the ball deep down the field. The last year, man, it was trash, man, playing the Colts. Like anytime they played, I didn't want to be a part of those games. It was boring. But also, their receiver core is kind of whack, though, I ain't going to lie. But maybe it's all because of just last year, something about Pittman, his ADOT was really low. And before that, he had a bigger ADOT, a higher ADOT and everything like that. He was going deeper down the field. So possibly with Richardson, he'd probably get sent down the field more than those little short routes that he was getting out wide, which wasn't doing nothing for us. Like he had about 2 games, I think, all season, over 20s and stuff like that. So, but possibly in this game, I see him going deep down the field. I think Alec Pierce also is a cool little decent deep threat. We have to figure out if McKenzie or Downs is starting in the slot. I think they probably for the first game they might lean to McKenzie. I still see Downs probably getting in there though. Young, fast, can get down the field deep and stuff like that. I feel like in the slot in this game, he might be really needed. Like he might get through, catch a big one, 40-yard bomb or something like that. Excuse me, y'all. But yeah, definitely feel like this is a great shootout game, potentially, easily stack run back type of situation here to me. So this is, like I said, the second best game after the Cincinnati Cleveland game, I would think, for when you talk about full shootout potential. And then we got so now we got Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Gotta check on this rain. I think my bad. I ain't gotta check on the rain. I forgot Minnesota. It's in Minnesota. So we got a dome here. We ain't worried about weather. And so we got Cousins, man, versus Baker, man. I think this is potentially set up for it to be Baker's best game. Let me drink some water here, y'all, real quick. Hold up. Okay, so yeah, this is set up to be Baker's best game. I mean, Minnesota's defense has gotten weaker. We're talking about cornerbacks gotten weaker. So it should be a lot of just the backfield period has gotten a lot weaker. Also, pass rush might be not as good anymore. So not having Zadarius, Smith attacking on one other side than their other, defensive end and stuff like that. I think that's going to give Baker some time in the pocket, even though he had a bad line, going into a horrible line because Brady was getting attacked all last year. So he might have to get the ball out quick. The thing is, though, they get the ball out quick always to Godwin. His 8 out is 6 yards. So, they love to throw quickly to the side to him, throw 6 yards out. The only thing is what sucks is Minnesota is going to be a team where you need to attack them downfield, man, because their cornerbacks aren't as good. Godwin didn't go downfield last season, but possibly we see more. His ADOT gets upped a little bit, this season because he's actually healthy. He said he, was just playing survival mode last season. But of course they have Evans. The only thing is Evans against zone defenses. He usually doesn't do as well. Like his greatest games is against man defenses or teams that play a little bit more man than they do zone. But maybe the cornerbacks are just that sorry, here now, and he does still do good because he is their, receiver for their deep threats, So I do see him still having a big chance to have an explosive game one. But it probably will lean more towards Godwin since this is a zone defense, and I would say also White. I can see him coming out the backfield a lot, and they'll attacking the zone that way too as well. On the other side, I mean, come on now, Cousins, Jefferson, man, going against a heavy zone style defense, man. Jefferson kills zone defenses. They started him off with the best matchup. I don't see how you don't put him in, a lot of your lineups if you're, building period, any type of lineups. I don't see how you don't. Also, the fact that Hawkinson, it's also a good tight end in the zone and stuff like that. So, these two is just one of the best duos too at that, when it comes to a wide receiver tight end duo. I definitely see, Jefferson having a big first game though. I don't see them really being able to stop him. Carlton or something like that, for the cornerback over here. He gave up a lot of yards anyways, and that's their best corner they got. So, and it doesn't really matter, I think, where Jefferson gets matched up at then in this game. I feel like he's going to be able to dominate. So, yeah, definitely feel like this is supposed to be a good game, period. It could be both sides. It could be ran back to if you think Baker can just be accurate enough to, because also before, when Brady was here, this two would have been the fastest paced game of the whole slate here, y'all. So, I don't know if they're going to be able to play as fast with Baker because, he's not really that accurate. I don't really know what to expect from him. He coming off a shoulder injury too at that. So I don't know how good his receivers are going to want to play for him either. Mike Evans, so many rumors already coming up. The season ain't even started about him being traded and him being questionable now and stuff like that. Just kind of, I don't know what to expect from him. How hard is he trying? Does he want to get traded? He's on the last year of his contract. And, he said he's not going to deal with his contract anymore situation that's going on. So, yeah, I don't really know what to expect from this team, really, from Tampa, man. I kind of feel like Evans will be on a new team by the, halfway through the season or so. But like I said, for Minnesota wise, yeah, definitely a good team to stack if you want to. Carolina, Atlanta here, man. It's one of the last ones we got for the morning here. So, Bryce Young, man, I didn't really get to see much from him, or even like Ritter too. This feels like a battle of like, don't know what to expect from these quarterbacks, like type of thing. Like battle could be weak. Hopefully Bryce Young is good because they spent the number one pick for him. But both teams, have some decent weapons here. Drake London. I feel like his production is all based on his quarterback, man. Same thing with Pitts, man, because they have two of the highest target percent, man. Pitts and London, almost lead the league, I would say, when it comes to target percent per route run. And so you would think they would be like the greatest stacking duel, like when it comes to wide receiver tight ends, but their quarterback, like doesn't seem that accurate. What do you have, like four games or so like that? What did he throw for? Let's see. He got 30, and that's another thing. This team was a heavy run team, so this game leans more towards Bijan Robinson having a breakout game, for the first game. If Cordell Patterson wasn't playing, it would literally feel like, yeah, put Bijan Robinson almost in all your lineups, it feels like, because if Cordell was in there, then it takes away the pass catching being taken away from Bijan, and that's where we benefit the most in fantasy. So it's the pass catching back. I like both running backs though in this game, though, period. I feel like both teams kind of going to heavily lean on their running backs to open up, of course, these receivers, especially for the Carolina side, because they don't really have great receivers. Thielen, the only thing I did notice about Thielen is that when he was targeted over like 8+ times, he got you decent numbers, 19, 21, and then what is another one, like 15 here with 9, 8, 18. You notice that like every time he gets about 8, he has decent numbers. Like he would hit them for 4,600 if he's going to guarantee get like 10 targets. Like I don't see how he doesn't hit. And like I say, on the other side, it's just on like London had targets though. That's the thing. Like you go look at London, 8, 9, 11, 12, but these numbers are trash. Like all these numbers are trash, man. So it's all about, and it seemed like he was catching, he caught half here, almost, a little bit over half. He was catching them. It's just like, I don't know what was happening there, man. So maybe, Pitts, needs to be more involved. Like let's see, because yeah, he didn't get to play those last games either. So with Pitts being there, probably opens it up, the field a little bit more for him, and it could have a breakout game in his first game. So that's all I could say. But it's an iffy game, could possibly be a shootout, but I would lean more to that the running backs be a heavy use, for them, and that's a good play for two running backs you can take right there. So next game we got Philly and New England. I do gotta check the weather here because yeah, this is outside. But even if it was raining, it would just be a heavily Hurts probably running the ball, as well as using Swift and maybe some Rashad Penny and something like that. Because they have the better line, man, and they should be able to protect Hurts like crazy in this game. Like if this isn't too bad of a weather game, I see him just having so much time in the pocket to find AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard, man. This game leans more to being a Goddard game. Which on the other side, since golly, man, I guess the best part about this game for New England is that the way to attack Philly is kind of in the middle of the field, and that's kind of all the type of weapons they got for New England. Like they don't really have no deep threat receivers since of course Thornton is hurt now. I believe he's out, on IR. Everybody here is kind of like just weapons that don't really get down the field, quick enough, fast enough, or anything like that, but they are able to, I would say, get in the middle of the field area. Like Juju is really good at that, and then if Gesicki is able to play, because I think New England's going to run a double tight end set. So it'll probably cause problems for Philly because of that, having Henry and Gesicki running the middle field. Then you got Juju all, crisscrossing through, and then coming out the backfield with Ramondre Stevenson and stuff like that. they should be able to get down the field on Philly because that is one of their weaknesses. When they play teams that where they need to attack the outside, that's when they're going to struggle a lot because they just don't have the weapons for it. So in this game, like I said, they have a chance to actually compete with Philly. But like I say, on the other side, Hurts is going to have mad time to throw the ball to AJ Brown, and New England thinks they're going to put a rookie cornerback who they drafted, I believe, like first round pick or something like that, on AJ Brown and play him man defense on him. AJ kills a lot of man defenses. So it's one of his best games is when he plays man defenses, So I don't see, and I really feel like Belichick is going to let that rookie, try to work, and go to work on AJ Brown. It just sounds like it's setting up for AJ to have a really good game. Let's move on. though. We got the Raiders versus Denver. I like this game, because of the fact that if was looking like Judy is out, and it kind of just narrowed down the targets, I feel like, for Russell. So it made it a little easier for me to the fact that Raiders like to play man style defense too. And they kind of at least throw to Sutton a lot more in man style defenses. So I feel like Sutton. Also, I like Dolchich in this game. I feel like they can both have good games here. We already saw Jacobs and Adams play good both times. I know one of those games went into overtime. No, the second time they played. And I think that's what helped Adams really go off because he scored that last touchdown in the final minutes of that game, so it was like a 40 yards. So 40 of these yards, possibly, I don't know if he already had 100 yards over at that time. But he scored that, final touchdown, it was at least like a 40-yard throw and things like that. So that probably gave him that big bump to getting to 36 points. Possibly probably would have had 20 something or, low 20 area, something like that before that. But still a good play, but I would kind of think Jacobs has just got them figured out, man. It's just one of those teams where he just does well, it seems like, every time, man. So I really feel like Jacobs, but like Sutton or Dolchich, I like in this side. Like I said, this is just a good game. Feels kind of easily, kind of knowing where to go. That's why I like it so much. But also could go back and forth too in that game. Let's get it. So this is probably for the late part so far. This got to be number one then when it comes to shootout potential, and we got nothing to worry about with weather because it's in a dome, things like that. Both sides, quarterback play is really good. It's like you're looking at most of these games late. Like, yeah, there's got to be one of the best ones besides, I would say, the Geno and Stafford. Just we'll get to that in a second though. But yeah, when you talk about quarterback play, accuracy, drop back potential, they drop back a lot. Both of these teams, man. One does play a lot faster though. Miami played a little bit slower, and I feel like they played slower because they heavily rely on two receivers. And if they played any faster, they would wear them out. So that's why I think they play slower. But they can speed up if they need to though. That's the thing. So but the Chargers and Miami, you talking about completely, this game is crazy. Like Mostert is a really, decent running back to me. I know he's getting older though, and Eckler is up there too, but both of them are good running backs. The only thing is, heavily Eckler is way better in the pass catching, department. I think when Kane is healthy and everything, I think he will probably lead the backfield when it comes to pass catching and probably take over even rushing. But both have decent running back potential, and anyways, Chargers were really bad against just regular rushing anyway, so Mostert is a good play here because of that. We talking about wide receivers, man. This is crazy, man. You talking about crazy stack when it comes to receivers, man. Like all the way, even Joshua Palmer even showed us something, but don't really expect him to get in too much with Quentin Johnston being there now. But Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, man, this is a crazy game, man. For the tight end side though, it leans only to one side here though, isn't it? It's just Everett. But yeah, full potential for just a crazy shootout. The only thing I will say is Chargers backfield is strong. It's more you should attack them, like I said, with the run because and Miami's going to do that. They play a heavy stack anyway, so they're set up to run at all times. But they do want to throw the ball ridiculously to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, so they will find multiple ways to get these two the ball and out in the open too at that. And that speed, man, could just turn up to being something crazy, So, and I think long as Tua stays healthy back there, yeah, we're in for a pretty good game here, man. Especially I think on the Herbert side because he has it easier. I feel like because of the fact that there's no Jalen Ramsey. You only got Xavier Howard, to try to stop one receiver at a time at least, and there's three out there and counting a tight end. and you got to worry about Eckler. Like Herbert just set up for possibly the most fantasy points of the day at quarterback. To me, is what it seems like. Just trying to figure out which receiver to stack him with, or two if you think in that way. It's going to be the hardest thing, I feel like, if anything. So let's move on. We got Green Bay and Chicago. Out of all these games here, this might have the next best potential to shoot out because of the fact that, first of all, Fields' rushing ability, I don't see Green Bay being able to stop that. I think that's one of the weaknesses still for the defense is, the rushing, from quarterbacks for sure, because we saw Hurts put up near, was it 200 yards rushing? Like, it was crazy. I know he set a record. So yeah, definitely Fields is going to try to do the same thing. And then I think once that, opens up for him, he's going to have Herbert here, coming out the backfield. He can dump the ball off too, I feel like, on some screen plays, something like that. DJ Moore, I feel like he should line up in the slot. But I know he played out wide for Carolina, but I feel like his production dropped because he played out wide. He was way better receiver when he was in the slot. And they don't have really good receivers that can line up in the slot here. Claypool is an outside receiver. Mooney is just was like a straight outside receiver. You need to move DJ Moore into the slot. So when they figure that out, I don't know how fast they figure it out. I think in this game he will move in there though a few times. I think that's where you're gonna need to attack, Green Bay, and it's my team, so I kind of know, So I do see him moving in there. Once, like I said, they establish Fields, DJ Moore should open up, and they're gonna get him, quick short routes and things like that. I know they're trying to get him the ball quickly, of course, also because Fields, man, when it comes to accuracy deep down the field, he wasn't that great. Like, serious. Like, start throwing deep down the field, his accuracy. That's when he kind of had turnovers, man. You look at his interceptions, they're pretty high, man. It's very high when you think about that he doesn't throw the ball. Like 21, 23, 21, 25 times, and you throwing 2 interceptions and 25 throws against us. Like that just goes to show that his accuracy isn't that great, y'all. So, but throwing short, if he's throwing short, then yeah, he probably got it. Like, I'm serious. Like, I can see Komet, DJ Moore coming across, like I say, and Herbert. This potentially is the next game to me besides this Miami game, when it's not like as proven when it comes to quarterbacks, period for throwing. But yeah, running, yeah, Fields gonna get you those points. But Love too, like, we don't know yet, like, I don't know yet, and I'm a Packer fan. Like, I'm still waiting to see what, like, how accurate he's gonna be, because that's the biggest thing. His accuracy so far is below average if it was what it is from the games that we do have to go off of. So we'll see now that he has a full starting game, season, everything behind him. This game though sets up to be a shootout though, just because of the fact though Love should have mad time in the pocket, man. Freaking Chicago doesn't have any like pass rusher. Their cornerback Kyler Gordon isn't that great. So, and I do expect them to try to play a little bit of man. They play zone, but they play a little too much man for the fact that they don't get no pass rush. And that's just going to set up to me for Christian Washington to burn them. So, and like getting that type of time in the pocket, can Love just be accurate enough to hit Christian Watson? That's my biggest thing. So if he is, because I do feel like Fields will be accurate enough to hit DJ on some crossing routes or some short routes and get him out of space. And like I say, and then you having Komet and Herbert, of course, Fields running the ball. Those threats alone should make them be able to score against Green Bay. And then it's all on that Love having time in the pocket, mad time in the pocket to find his receivers. And if Dobb is able to go too, because they will need him too as well. I do like also Musgrave, being another big weapon to get down the field to it. So yeah, it just sets up for a sneaky shootout, man. I really like this game still and everything. So like I said, a good fantasy points game. Of course, Chicago, like I said, they gave up also one of the most points to quarterbacks too. So yeah, definitely like setting up to be like an easily shootout game and a nice rival setup game and everything. Like, maybe the next time they play each other, it might be a little bit less scoring and things like that. And then the last game on this slate, man, we got Geno versus Stafford. If Stafford can have Cup, then this could turn out to be a decent game. It's two good quarterbacks. I think it's enough weapons for the Rams, but, just because of the fact Cup lines up in the slot a lot. And, Seahawks defense, best cornerbacks are out wide, man. They don't really travel inside. So Cup doesn't have to worry about matching up with them. And that just benefits him, as well as Higbee doesn't have to worry about matching up with them either. and they're two people that they want to go to the most is Higbee and Cup. So if them two are there, then this potentially turns out to be a good game. Otherwise, it kind of feels like it might be one sided. Stafford is known to throw. He's not the highest when it comes to accuracy. He throws picks and stuff like that, and so I feel like if he ends up having to throw out wide more because there is no cut, yeah, it's gonna tend to be like maybe a better game to pick. Seahawks defense or something like that, and be more of a one-sided game here. But if I don't know if JSN is gonna be able to play too. If he's not gonna be able to play, I feel like this leans more to Lockett and Fant being good plays, because you need to attack more of the middle of the field. If JSN was, going go and everything, he's going to line up in the slot now and lock it out wide. So I would pick JSN, man, for more fantasy points here. But so that's about it, man. Yeah, man, that's about it, man. I think we finished up, man, the first week right there, first look, man. Should be a really good week, man. I hope that all helps y'all out a little bit there. Like I said, the final look plus, going through the top 5 in each position videos that I'll be dropping this week. And then, of course, we got to hit on the Thursday night big game, man, the opening night for the season, man. I'm just excited, man. I can't wait to win this money. Attacking these slates, man. Building lineups has been really fun, man. Finally getting back to doing that. And having all these notes to go through, too, to help me, man, and help y'all out as well. So, good luck, man. Stay tuned. Like I said, we got the top 5 coming up. We got Thursday, first look, as well as in the final look. And then we got the final look for this slate, for the week 1 slate, man, videos, man, to drop. Peace out, man.